Hi, welcome to Q Weekly and 2003. I have trouble writing that.
Yeah, me too, still. I
know. Yes. Okay, welcome. We have a very full show for you tonight. We have
lots of things coming up tonight, actually, but the first thing that we're going to be showing is actually a new play called Love, Valour and Compassion, which is going to be actually showing its debut at Midsummer Festival.
We also have footage in relation to the Australian Lesbian and Gay Archives. We're going in there and seeing what's happening within the archives.
Okay, and we've also got an interview, a really fascinating interview actually, with Kinsgley, whose book is called Caught in a Straight Act. Yeah, Caught in a Straight Act, sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yep.
We also go back to Sexpo, which was held in November. If you hadn't had enough, we're going back there.
Definitely. And finally, we'll be showing you Sasha's new video clip called Gambaray.
Sounds very fun. Yeah.
It will be. Okay, and the first thing that we're actually showing you is Love, Valour and Compassion. It is directed by Baldock, and we've got an interview coming from him and also some footage of just what's going on in the background and what's going to be taking place in Midsummer Festival.
We're talking to Baldock, who's directing a play called Love, Valour, Compassion for the Midsummer Festival. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Amy. How are you?
I'm okay. Tell us a bit about this play. Just with the title like that, Love, Valour, Compassion, it's got a bit of everything, doesn't it?
It has absolutely everything. It was written about 1995 and is the first play to appear on Broadway since Boys in the Band, which is going back a long way, to have a fully gay cast, as in all the characters are gay. And it was written by Terence McNally, who also wrote Corpus Christi. You remember Corpus Christi? And the wonderful Masterclass, which I had the joy to direct about 2 years ago. So it's taken from a Walt Whitman poem, and it's basically, he wrote the play as a tribute to his friends. He wanted to say, this is what my friends mean to me as a gay man in the 90s. So it's one of those plays that's got absolutely everything in it. It's incredibly funny, it's amazingly moving. There's dancing, there's singing, there's nudity, there's the works, everything's in there. But it's about friendship, it's about loyalties and trust, and it's something that everyone can relate to.
And how are you? Weary and wonderful.
Who's using all the hot water?
We are, Gregory. I'm sorry.
That's alright, that's alright. I'll shower later. Really, Buzz, it's fine.
If this were a musical, then it'd make a great cue for steam heat. Really, Buzz, it's fine. I've got steam heat. Of course, if this were a musical, there'd be plenty of hot water, and it would have a happy ending. Life in Gregory's Plumbing should be more like a musical.
There's a gay sensibility to it, but I think it's universal. I mean, the theme of friendship and love and loyalty is universal to everybody. As you probably know, it was made into a film as well, which had a broader appeal than just the gay community. And I know a lot of my straight friends who have read the play and seen rehearsals just adore it, because once again they can relate to somebody in the play or a theme that's in the play.
That's not fair. We can't help that. We can't afford to be fair. Fair is the luxury. Fair is the healthy people with healthy lovers in nice apartments with lots of health insurance, which of course they don't need, but God forbid somebody like me or James should have it. Are you true?
We're the first ones to do the play in Victoria, and I think one of the major reasons for that, apart from the fact it's a big production as far as a play is concerned, is also the casting, particularly the part of Ramon, who's supposed to be the hunky Puerto Rican dancer, professional dancer, who spends half the play with his clothes off. And we thought, where the hell are we going to get this guy from? And luckily, 2 weeks...
Steamworks?
Yes. Well, that was thought about. And luckily, 2 weeks before the auditions, we got an email from the guy who's playing the role now, Juan, who just came down from Sydney, and he's this hunky Chilean professional dancer. So, and he gets away with it, and he's great, and we're lucky. We're very lucky, yeah. And we've got a fantastic cast, so that helps. They love the play, they love doing it, they can't wait to get on.
The orchestra plays, the characters die, the audience cries. The curtain falls, the actors get up off the floor, the audience puts on their coats, and everybody goes home feeling better.
That was interesting footage. I didn't know there was a production on that.
I've never actually been to the summer festival before. I think it'd be a really great opportunity to actually go and to see some new acts that are about. And
yeah, I know there was a film, Valour and Compassion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it might have Jason Alexander from Seinfeld in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know about the movie. No, there you go.
Yeah. Next we have some footage from the Lesbian and Gay Archives. A person by the name of Graham Willit, who is the president and he's also a lecturer at Melbourne University, is going to be talking and showing a bit of footage about the archives. So here we go.
Melbourne, gay capital of Australia. Sydney-siders may disagree, but we are a city steeped in queer history. Over the next few weeks, we aim to bring some of this history alive for you in Out of the Archives. This week, we start in the year 1856 at St Francis Church.
St Francis Catholic Church here on Elizabeth Street is the site for 2 same-sex marriages in Australian history. The first of these was in 1856 when Edward de Lacy Evans married Mary Delahunty. It doesn't sound like a same-sex marriage unless you realise that Edward was in fact a woman who had recently arrived from Ireland. 26-year-old, single, Catholic, literate, Ellen Tremay had come out on the Ocean Monarch. Like most women of her class, she soon found herself in domestic service. But she pretty soon got sick of that, and within a few months she'd adopted a male name, Edward de Lacy Evans, male attire, and was doing male work. And at about the same time she married Mary Delahunty here at St Francis Church. Did Mary know? She certainly did. The two of them came out to Australia together on the Ocean Monarch and were birthmates. A few years later, after they'd separated, Mary, answering suggestions that she was remarrying bigamously, declared that her first marriage had never been a true one because Edward was in fact a woman. Edward married twice more. His third marriage lasted for 11 years, and towards the end they actually had a child together, which is either a miracle or something even more interesting. In the end, Edward suffered some kind of nervous breakdown in 1879, and picked up off the streets of Melbourne, he was taken to Kew Asylum. Fighting desperately to avoid being disrobed and bathed, at this point his secret came out. The second same-sex marriage that took place here at St Francis that we know of took place many years later, in 1900, between Bill Edwards and Lucy Minahan. Bill was a woman. He'd been born Marion Edwards in 1881 in rural Victoria. At the age of 16, Marion suddenly transformed herself into Bill and took off for the bush, where she worked as a station hand. Many years later, he talked about what hard work it was, but pointed out that as a station hand he was paid 2 or 3 times what he could expect to be paid as a woman domestic servant. And he also learnt a lot. It was a much more exciting life. He learnt to shoot and to wrestle and to shear sheep. After an unfortunate brush with the law in Fitzroy, he shot through to Queensland, and life went on much as it had, until he was dobbed in by a mate, arrested and brought back to Melbourne to be put on trial. The media were much more interested in the fact that Bill was really a woman than it was in the fairly minor charges. But unlike Edward de Lacy Evans, Bill decided to seize his 15 minutes of fame, and he wallowed in the attention of the media. After the charges were dismissed, he joined a sideshow, travelling around Victoria as the most famous she-male in Australian history. A few years later, he published an autobiography, The Amazing Adventures of Marion Bill Edwards. And after that, he kind of disappears from the scene, living quietly in a working-class community in West Melbourne until he died, still living as Bill, in 1956.
Well, that's definitely one history lesson I didn't get at school. I don't know about you.
I didn't know the archives existed. When I hear the name archives, is it archives or archives or?
Archives, I think. Yeah.
I
History.
imagine dark, dingy dungeons with spiderwebs in them, but from the look of the footage, I don't think they're anything like that.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. Have you read any good books lately?
Funny enough, you mentioned books. We've actually got the author Ken Kinsgley coming up next, who's actually the author of
Caught in a Straight Act?
Caught in a Straight Act, that's right. It's Caught in a Straight Act with Ken Kinsgley, and it's actually about gay men who are trying to live their lives in a straight environment with like trying to actually be like the husband to a wife and how they actually cope emotionally. It would be pretty traumatic, I think.
That sounds like it, yes.
Yeah, so here's Ken Kinsgley now to tell us more about his book.
Good evening, I'm Harriet for Q Weekly, and this evening I'm interviewing Ken Kinsgley. It took him 2.5 years to evolve this wonderful book, and it's called Caught in the Straight Act. Ken, what is this book all about, and how did you come about doing it?
Right, well the book basically, the pivotal point of the book is how men that are married with gay tendencies, how they cope emotionally, whether they cope emotionally or perhaps they don't, which raises the question of suicide. And it's a book on 1,014 men that have been interviewed over 3.5 years, and we do a rewind of their lives back to day one, how they couldn't identify with being gay, many of them, or in the big hope of getting married and hoping that marriage would cure them. So that's basically what the book's about.
And I believe it's also a good research type book for people who are studying and being students who are doing work in the area of the gay and lesbian community, and how maybe their partners, especially the straight partners, the wives, are coping. Maybe that could be done as a review of an essay or something like that.
Exactly.
You know, it could be a reference book also, tiny as it is.
Yes.
I see it also as a reference book for many people who are studying and who need to know and understand how many people have suffered in this calamity, and it is a calamity, and a ruse of not identifying your own personality. Have you spoken with women in this book?
Yes, I have. Women, ex-wives have participated, and they have stories in the back of the book. Some of the children also have taken part in writing their experiences. It also deals with suicide, and one chap who was one of the first participants has suicided since the book has been published. But it covers body language in the workplace, how a guy has to cope with going for a drink with workmates and not being attracted to a woman and looking as though he should be, and how his body language covers that, and all the emotional outfall that goes with all the pretense.
And what was the comments of the wives that you did interview? Pardon me. What were their comments on finding out about their husbands being gay or bisexual?
Yes, the majority, I can't put an exact number or a percentage, but the majority felt used or betrayed, as many people do. They get married, they want to get married for life, and so they can feel used by that. Others already knew that they were gay and just thought that in the hope that they stick together that he'll overcome that. And some that know he's gay that haven't divorced are still living together because they really like each other as people. And there's a wide cross-section of of attitudes about that, and that's covered in the book. It is a small book, but it's very condensed. There's a lot of straight to the point facts in there.
Right. And the children, what comments? Can you give me a comment of the children that you spoke with?
Yeah, well, there was a cross-section between he's always been a good father, and so I'll stick to him through this. There was that. There were the ones that felt hurt and needed time to adjust and slowly came round because it wasn't what they expected of their father. Some children think it's okay to know gay people, but they may not want their father to be gay. That's a different story altogether.
Right. And just towards the end of our conversation now, could you tell the viewers where they might be able to contact you and if they want to buy this book or maybe have a story to give you?
Yes.
How can they contact you?
Two ways. One, they can go to Hares and Hyenas in Commercial Road in Paran, or PO Box 218, Mooney Ponds, care of Ken Kinsgley, and that's 3039.
Well, thank you very much, Ken.
Thanks, Harriet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Wow, well, that's definitely a life that I wouldn't want to lead. But I don't know about you, but trying to just live with one identity, never mind two, would just be just really difficult.
Too true, too true. Okay, we're just about to go to a break, but after the break we have a music clip from Sasha, DJ Sasha.
Yes, and just before that we're actually going to have something a bit lighter for you guys. There's actually some footage from Sexpo which was taken back in November. So we'll see you after the break.
See you shortly. Welcome back to Q Weekly. You've all got your cups of tea and your coffee and your stollies and everything else you need for the second half. We've got Sexpo coming up, haven't we?
Oh, we do. I actually love this footage, I have to say. It is really great.
Because you had a hand in it.
Yeah, besides me having a hand in the editing, but I have to say that I wasn't alone on that. Jason did give me a hand. But no, it's really lively, it's really boppy, it actually makes you want to get out there and actually really experience it.
Yeah, I've got some footage of Sexpo from Jeff Shed, Sexpo was actually held back in November. So if you enjoyed it so much, we've got some more footage for you. Here it is.
Disco? Anyway.
Shouldn't be singing that.
Yes, because actually our next clip that we've actually got to show you is Sasha's new one called Gambara. See what you think.
2002年全世界が日本と韓国に注目します。2002年全世界が日本と韓国に注目します。
Well, that was Sasha's new one, Gambara. I actually quite like it. I
So
don't
do
know about
I.
you.
I think I might go clubbing tonight.
Yeah.
With that. Yeah.
Puts you in the mood, doesn't it?
I know. Yeah. That was a very full show. I'm
was.
exhausted. So I think we will have to tell all our viewers out there, please subscribe. We need all the support we can get, and please support any event that is happening in our community.
Yeah, it'd be a big help.
Yes.
And yeah, but that's all we've got time for today.
Yes, we'll see you again next week. Not sure what we've got next week, but I'm guaranteed it's going to be another big show.
Yeah, I'm sure so.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, and good night.
Good night.